Hello everyone. I hope all of you are doing well. Today we will continue with the explanation of Lesson 8, Daddy Longlegs by Jane Webster. In the last class, we have learned that Daddy Longlegs is Jane Webster's best-selling epistolary novel. We have also learned what exactly is an epistolary novel, and we now know that this novel was written in the form of letters, and it was popular both as a novel and also as a stage play, which was adapted in 1914, more than 100 years ago. So this is the story of an 18-year-old orphan named Jerusha Abbott, who writes letters to her anonymous benefactor. And in the last class, we have learned what is the meaning of anonymous benefactor. Anonymous means unknown, and benefactor means someone who helps someone financially. So this anonymous benefactor is helping Jerusha financially to get a college education. So because of this benefactor, Jerusha, who doesn't have parents, is getting an education in a college. So now she is writing a letter to her anonymous benefactor, whom she calls as Daddy Longlegs, because she has never seen his face, but only seen his shadow, and that shadow appeared to have very long legs, and that's why she calls him Daddy Longlegs Smith. So now we will proceed with the explanation of the second paragraph, because in the last class we have discussed the first paragraph of the letter that Jerusha wrote to her anonymous benefactor. In the last class we have discussed the first paragraph, and now we will start from the second paragraph. So Jerusha describes her room now, where she is living. My room is up in a tower that used to be the contagious ward before they built a new infirmary. So Jerusha is taking an education in a college, and that college also provides her with accommodation. That means the students in that college, they not only get an education there, but they also get to live there. And how she is describing her living place in the college? So her room is in a tower, so it is in a building, we know that. And that where she is living right now, that used to be a contagious ward. Now, what is the meaning of contagious ward? It is given here below. You see, a room for patients with infectious diseases. You say, a contagious ward used to be a part in a hospital, and their patients who were diagnosed with infectious diseases, they were kept in the contagious ward. Why? Contagious means, what is the meaning of contagious? Contagious means something that easily spreads from one person to another. Like we now know, COVID-19 is a contagious disease because it can easily spread from one person to another. And ward means it is like a division or a block in a hospital. And before they build a new infirmary. So now we know that the tower where she lives, where Jerusha is living right now, it used to be an infirmary. What is the meaning of infirmary? A place in a school or prison, etc., for sick people. So in school, prison, people live together, and and when a lot of people live, there is always a chance that at least a few of them will get sick, and so sick people need more care, and they need to be kept away from other healthy people in order to prevent the contagious diseases. And that's why they were treated in an infirmary. It was like a hospital where the sick people were kept and treated. But now the college has a new infirmary. That means the college has built they have now a new infirmary. They have built a new infirmary, and that is why this contagious ward has been shifted to the new infirmary building. And so Jerusa is getting to live in one of the rooms that was earlier used as a contagious ward. There are 3 other girls on the same floor of the tower. So on the same floor of the tower where Jerusa is living, so it has multiple floors. That means it is a building which is like many floors. Like our school, it has multiple floors. And there are 3 other girls. So in the same floor where Jerusa is living, there are 3 other girls. They are also living in the same floor, but in separate rooms. So as it is a building, so it has many rooms. There are 3 other girls. A senior. So here a senior means a student in the final year of college. You all know whom we call seniors. The students who are in the higher classes, we refer to them as senior. So a senior student lives in the same floor, and she is a final year student, and we'll be referring all the other students as she, because we know that Jerusa is taking education in a girls' college. So you see, there are 3 other girls on the same floor. A senior who wears spectacles. So spectacles, that means glasses. You know the meaning of spectacle, and she is always asking us, please, to be a little more quiet. So that senior is like very studious and likes to spend most of her time reading, and so she also, whenever she comes across Jerusa, she always asks her, please be a little quiet, please be a little quiet. And 2 freshmen named Sally McBride and Julia Rutledge Pendleton. So freshman means a first-year student at university or college. So like Jerusa, these 2 girls, Sally McBride and Julia Rutledge Pendleton, they were also fresh students. Like they have just taken admission and they are in the first year, and so they, like Jerusa, they are also freshmen. And now Jerusa goes on to describe Sally McBride. Sally has red hair, so the color of the hair is red, and a turn-up nose, and is quite friendly. So she even describes her nose. So turn-up nose means a nose which is slightly turned up, and it actually looks very pretty on girls, and is quite friendly. And Sally is a very friendly girl. Julia, so Julia Rutledge Pendleton. Julia comes from one of the first families in New York, and hasn't noticed me yet. Julia has come from Julia. She hasn't noticed Jerusa yet. So that means Jerusa still hasn't talked to Julia, because Jerusa thinks that Julia still hasn't noticed Jerusa yet. So they might haven't come across, or they haven't been introduced. And she comes from one of the first families. So what is the meaning of first family? A family with high social status and influence. So especially in America, a rich family with a very high reputation and social status and a lot of wealth, they are considered as first families. Like the president of the United States of America, his family is considered as the first family. So, and that is why his wife is called as the First Lady of America. So people with high social status, they were called first family. When social classes were very much when social classes were very common in the Western society. Nowadays it does not exist that way, and nowadays it is not a very good habit to bring up classes among the society. Nowadays everyone is considered equal, but there was a time when social class people referring themselves with class, second class, first class, or people or people with rank, they used to be very common, and nobody would take any offense with that. So usually freshmen can't get, so Sally has red hair. Julia comes from one of the first families, and so as we know that Julia comes from a very rich family, and that is why she perhaps she doesn't socialize with the commoners. So maybe that is why they haven't talked yet. They room together, and the senior and I have singles. So this Sally and Julia, they live in they are roommate. They live in one single room. That means they share a room. But Jerusa and the senior, they live in separate rooms, and that means senior and I have singles. That means they live in a single room separately. Usually freshmen can't get singles. They are very scarce, but I got one without even asking. So now Jerusa says that freshmen, as Jerusa is also a freshman, so she says that it is not very common for freshmen to get single room, because single room are considered as a privilege, because they provide you lots of privacy, and you do not get disturbed, and you get a perfect atmosphere for to study. But even though Jerusa is a freshman, but she still got a single room. They are very scarce. Scarce means less quantity. That means it is not very common. So, but I got one without even asking. But interestingly, even though freshmen do not get single rooms, even though single rooms are very scarce, but Jerusa got one without even asking, even though Jerusa is a freshman. So what does she say in the next paragraph? I suppose the registrar didn't think it would be right to ask a properly brought up girl to room with a foundling. You see, there are advantages. So I suppose registrar means a record keeper, someone who keeps record of the students in a university. So the registrar perhaps thought that it would not be good for other girls to share a room with a foundling. Properly brought up means a girl who comes from a good family background and who has been brought up by good parents of high social status. And as it is a college, so there are girls from good families often go there. And so those girls from the good family the parents of those girls would not like them to share a room with a foundling. What is the meaning of foundling given? An orphan. So Jerusa is an orphan, we know, and so she has referred to herself as foundling. And now she takes it as in a humorous way and says that, you see, there are advantages. So Jerusa, now we know why Jerusa got a single room. She got a single room because she is an orphan and nobody would want to share a room with her. My room is on the northwest corner with 2 windows and a view. So her room is in the northwest corner and it has 2 windows and a view. That means a view means like she gets a nice view through the window. That means when she looks out of the window, she might see the field or the greeneries. I mean, she gets a good, beautiful scenery out of the window. She gets to see a good view. After you have lived in a ward for 18 years with 20 roommates, it is restful to be alone. So Jerusa is very happy to get a single room and also happy to live alone, because after you have lived in a ward, and remember she lived in an orphanage, for 18 years she spent 18 years of her life in an orphanage with 20 roommates. So they lived in a dormitory. Dormitory is like a huge hall where lots of small children, they share have beds there. That means you have no privacy there. It is like a huge hall where like 20 30 people, they sleep together, they have separate beds or bunk beds. You know bunk beds, where like the bed is built in such a way that two people can sleep there one over the another, and it is restful to be alone. So she has lived her past life with 20 roommates in the orphanage, in the ward. I already told you the meaning of ward. It's like a division where people live with people share a room together, and it is restful. So restful means what is given? Calm and relaxing. So it is relaxing to be alone. So she is happy to be alone because she finds it restful. Now Jerusa has written another line. Say, this is the first chance I have ever had to get acquainted with Jerusa Abbott. I think I am going to like her. Do you think you are? So now Jerusa talks in a third person. She's talking in a third person because she says that this is the first chance. This is the first time she is getting a chance to get acquainted with Jerusa Abbott. Acquainted with means when you are introduced to someone and you know them personally. Like the meaning of acquainted is cause to know personally. In our language, in Assamese, it is called as sinaki. Like if when someone says that yes, I am acquainted with that person, that means that person knows that person personally, or have some or that person has information about that person. He says that he is acquainted with. So acquainted with means you have you know that person personally. So now Jerusa is writing that she is getting a chance to get acquainted with Jerusa Abbott. Here the meaning is also given. Get acquainted with means learn about, get familiar with, that means getting to know about. So Jerusa Abbott. Now how Jerusa Abbott is going to get acquainted with herself, that means Jerusa Abbott. So I think I'm going to like her. You see, this is a very interesting line. Why? Because here Jerusa Abbott, the girl, the orphan girl, is talking to her, talking about herself in third person. That means all throughout her life she has lived in an orphanage. She had to share a room with 20 other children. She never had a moment alone. She never had privacy, and she never got the chance to live alone in her room. Now that means she never got the chance to think about certain things deeply, because she was always crowded. She was always she always had people around her. She never had time to reflect about certain things. You get to know yourself when you get to know your thinking. But if you are always surrounded by people, you do not even get a chance to know that what you are exactly thinking about, because you will hear a noise, someone will talk to you, you will get disturbed, you will not even get the chance to read a book or to see how you like the book or not, or what is the meaning of a thing that you just read. So here, but now that she is living alone, so Jerusa is now getting the chance to know herself. That means what she likes and what she dislikes. Now she has got a freedom. You see, if you want to know about yourself, you will have to spend some time with yourself. That means you will have to spend time alone. You will have to know about your thoughts, about the way you think, about your likes and dislikes. Now that Jerusa is getting the chance to live alone, she is also getting the chance to know about herself. And now she's writing to her anonymous benefactor that I think I'm going to like her. So she says that she is positive that she is going to like herself. So do you think you are? So now she again asks that to the benefactor that would you like her too?